So, to start with the questions, the future predicted in the series is pretty dark. And
Yes,
grim.
it is.
Do you believe that a similar fate awaits us if we, as a species, don't start actively fighting problems such as climate change?
That's exactly where we're going. I mean, this is a TV show. We have to be dramatic, we have to expand, and we have to exaggerate for dramatic effect to a certain degree. That doesn't mean that it's not possible. We had, UN climate change advisors come in and tell us about what could happen in the world. New York underwater, Louisiana falling into the sea, Jakarta being underwater. It's just sort of I'm so sorry. That's my phone in my coat. Wow. Yeah, just get in there and get rid of it. Throw it out the window. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I don't have any friends. Why is everyone calling me? Thank you. Sorry.
It's okay.
Do you want me to answer that question again, from the start? So the world. It is the way that we're going, and I think climate change with the UN advisors that came into the show. We looked at what could happen and what the furthest end of the spectrum is, because you have to, for extremist sake and for storytelling's sake, you want to be in that sort of world. But if we don't listen now, then there's no reason why it can't happen. I mean, we talked about building a wall between countries in the pilot, and then a presidential candidate a month after we filmed it. We didn't do it afterwards. We did it before. Yeah. Then they opened their mouths and they said those sort of things. That has to be a sign that we're moving towards those sort of directions. I mean, with Brexit and whatever else, we're moving into a world where with the refugee crisis and the swarm, they refer to it as a swarm, yes. like they're locusts, yeah. Of migrants that, fleeing a war that we started, that we're fucking bombing, pardon my language, oh God. We're dealing with right-wing fascist sort of groups becoming more popular. We're having problems in Sweden and Germany and in Eastern Europe. We're becoming more xenophobic as a people. We're fearing other people of different colours. Why aren't we? We're all the same people. And I think this show has that. It has climate change. It has corporations that are becoming greedier and greedier. They are happening. Monsanto and Nestle and these sort of companies. It's possible. We just have to stay on top of it. And the great thing about science fiction is that we can show the future without the price of having to go through it. We can, it's just like shine a mirror on the world or whatever, and just show the repercussions of our actions if we don't change. That's not necessarily where we're going to go, and I have better, we should have more faith in humanity than that. But why not show it and warn,
Yeah, of course. So, as I can tell now, you're very passionate about this issue, and
yeah.
You work with one of the most active voices in the industry about this kind of problems, that is Matt Damon.
Yes.
Along with Leonardo DiCaprio and so many others.
Yeah, he's just come out with this documentary.
Yeah, it's a wonderful one. So my question is, how was the experience of working with such devout people about this kind of problems?
They were actually the ones that started the show. I think the show had been written, it had been created, and they made it into a TV show instead of a movie. And Ben and Matt saw it and went, this is something that we care about and our company should produce. So the honour to then join that after the casting process starts is immense. I mean, it's a total privilege. But it's great. I mean, those are the people that I want to work with. Why wouldn't, obviously they're talented, obviously they're brilliant at what they do, but why wouldn't you want people that also care about the planet, that care about more than themselves, that care about more than financial gain or social status? They care about helping others and using whatever status they may have to maybe finance or fund or help or just promote the idea of changing things for the better. It's the perfect relationship.
Yeah, of course. So, talking about your role now, this role, it must have been a very challenging one, because your character is undercover, and from what we can predict, from what we saw in the premiere, it could become a very physical role also. Mm-hmm. So how did you prepare, or how do you keep preparing for the part?
It requires a lot of mapping. I think Ben's a very complex character, and if you came to my apartment, you'd see it looked like an insane person's house. It would look like I was an old drug detective trying to figure out a crime with paint, drawings and things all over. An insane person coming out with this. But Ben is also Aaron, and so you have these two people, these two opposing emotions that are conflicting all the time. That makes it a very complex person. Aaron has his own goals, Ben has his own. He's you can put that as green zone, red zone, Laura, Elena, rich, poor, 1%, 99, whatever you want to call it and define it as. They have these two internal emotions battering each other all the time, and they're stripping away all of his all of his humanity and all of his strength, all of his dignity, all of his he's having to do things for a noble quest that he's really struggling with, and to put yourself in that place, you have to understand the complexities of it, and you have to. I had to map more than I've ever had to map before. I had to sit down. I'm quite hyperactive. I'm quite energy. I had to sit down, and I had to get to the crux of where I was going, what I needed to do at all times, and justify the behaviour of these people, because it's different to how I would do it. So he was the most complex character I've ever played, for sure, and one of the most complex I think I will.
Okay, so the last question. This series has an interesting story, even if we put the 2074 reality aside.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the story is a way of getting people to care about the strong message of the series, or do you think that it is the heart of the show, or do you try to find a middle ground between the two of them, the message and the story?
Yeah, I think you can find a middle ground, but actually the story always comes first. So we are a TV show.
Yeah.
It's meant to be entertaining. People are meant to like watching it. People are meant to want to tune in next week and care about these fictional people in a fictional world. Anything on top of that is a bonus, and you want to have meaning. You want to have relevance. You want to have some sort of gain other than just entertainment. You want to be able to maybe sway people's minds, maybe make people think that they should make decisions. But that's something that happens after the TV show is made. We didn't make this TV show going, you know what, we want to talk about this and that. No one writing from LA has any personal gain in Washington. None of them work for the Senate or Congress or anything else or any of these big companies. We're all, these guys, some of the guys are middle class, happy, trying to fend for their kids and just live. So there's no personal gain other than making a story that we care about. We're all storytellers. But on top of that, if there were to be anyone that went, you know what, I don't want to get to that place, it's kind of scary, maybe I will recycle, maybe I will stop driving to work, then that's great, that's a gain, but it's not something that we're trying to force on anyone. And there's always, it's always difficult as an actor to try and preach to anyone, because do your job, be an actor, but it's but if it has any importance, then that's a total bonus. First and foremost, it's a story that we want to tell.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.